backup sprinkled in. Okay, and one last question, just by way of housekeeping, is the video coming through now? Great. Okay, video is coming through. Looks like we've got everything we need. Again, apologies for that. I'm sorry it took a few minutes for us to get it sorted out. I think GoToWebinar was updating itself. Okay, so what we'll do is we will, in terms of structure of the agenda for the webinar, we'll do a 30-minute presentation about SOS Collaborate, and then we'll take Q&A. But in that Q&A, what I'll probably do is pivot to the core backup product for those of you who are interested in backup. Remember also that there's a Kindle giveaway, and the details for the Kindle giveaway will be given out at the end of the presentation, so roughly that 30-minute mark, although we may run a little bit late today given the problems we've had getting started. So turning to the presentation itself, we'll go through what is Collaborate as a product, what does it mean to you as a partner or a prospective partner of SOS, why would your customers want this product, how does the reseller program work, how can you get started as a partner selling Collaborate, and then the Q&A about the technology and the demo of the product. At a high level, Collaborate is a document management meets file server meets cloud storage solution. And this category of technology of sync and collaboration isn't particularly well defined. The best example of technology in the space is still Microsoft SharePoint, which is by far the market leader, but you've got other companies in the space like Box.net and Huddle, who have both made quite big impacts on the space. One of the biggest bits of feedback we have had from our partners is that they love the core backup product, they love the collaboration technology built into SOS's core backup product, but they wish that that was a fully featured business collaboration tool in and of itself. So that's what we've launched here with SOS Collaborate. It's a comprehensive solution for managed file transfer, storage, email attachments, and fundamentally business collaboration. Even in today's modern work environment, FTP servers, network drives, and emails are the three most common ways of transferring files around the office and working on different files, and Collaborate gives us an easy and elegant solution for solving that. So why SOS and why now? How does this fit into the overall SOS mission? I won't belabor this point too much, depending upon the audience composition. Again, just by show of hands, do we have here today existing partners or prospective partners? That would be very useful. If it's all prospective, I'll give you a little bit more by way of history. Had a couple of people answer prospective, new. Okay, that's really useful information. Keep that coming. Okay, so good. Stepping back and looking at SOS's mission in life, we've always said that our products were about 4 different things. Protecting your data, and this was hardcore backup and recovery. Accessing your data, so getting that data out of our cloud onto a myriad of devices, whether it's an iPhone with a native iPhone application or a laptop or through a browser, so really getting access to that information anywhere, anytime, from any device. Sharing, on the top left, so getting that data out of the cloud to someone other than yourself, getting it to a business colleague, getting it to, say, friends and family, and then management. So the ability to control and manage all of that data, restrict permissions, restrict archiving periods, and as a reseller, most importantly, manage all of your downstream customers. You might have a couple hundred companies using a product like Collaborate, each with 100 users. You're talking about 10,000 different seats that need to be managed. So having a really powerful management system is super important for a product like Collaborate. In terms of where this fits in the overall cloud storage category, we put this slide together because there's a lot of confusion about, well, what's the difference between Amazon S3 versus what Box is doing versus Dropbox versus SOS Online Backup? How does that interrelate with things like Carbonite and Mosaic? And so we look at the world through this spectrum with simple storage on the left. So this is all cloud technology, right? So on the left, we've got simple storage, and we're talking here about simple cloud storage, the most common and best known of which is the Amazon S3 service, which stands for Simple Storage Service. And generally here we've got large companies who are offering these services as kind of an IaaS, infrastructure as a service solution. Generally very low margin, very little product differentiation, commodity technology. So we've basically taken hard disks and we've moved them into the cloud. Going all the way to the right of this diagram, we've got the backup and restore industry. Traditionally a $10 billion industry, traditionally dominated by on-premises technology like tape and disk, traditionally dominated by the massive corporate IT providers, the IBMs of the world. We've seen a big transition in the last 5 years to cloud-based and online backup, and we've seen a lot of startups emerge from the ether and really take substantial market share. SOS is one of those. By, depending on which metric you want to pick, we're probably the 3rd or 4th largest online backup company in the world, with millions of customers, 150 employees around the world. We compete with Carbonite, we compete with Mozy and others. In the backup industry, you've got a very established product category. Everybody understands the need for backup. You've got widespread demand and use. Every business in America or in the world actually needs a backup solution and understands that they need a backup solution. So you've got great customer understanding of the product in question. You've got really high customer retention, so it's a sticky service. Once people start backing up to the cloud, they generally stick with it for several years. Very technology-driven and a very high-margin product category. So if you are not an SOS backup partner and you're on the line today, it's really worth checking out our core backup program. And the same people that you talk to about Collaborate can talk to you about the backup program. But generally the properties of it here is well understood product with tremendous margin, like 50% gross margin is pretty common, with very high customer retention. Then in the middle, we have this new emerging category. And this is where things are a little less well-defined. We divide the world into sync tools and collaboration tools, but generally this bucket of technology is all focused with the intersection of files and people. So whether you're talking about Box.net, who've made a big splash in the business world, or Huddle, who's also very popular in the SMB and enterprise world, Google Docs, although that really hasn't gained a lot of traction, down to the consumer-grade solutions, so Dropbox and SugarSync, which are very low-fidelity consumer-grade solutions, great for swapping music and maybe a couple of photos, but not really business products. Then at the top of the stack, you've got the 400-pound gorilla, Microsoft, with their SharePoint product. I recently read an article that said SharePoint sales had exceeded $3 billion annually between product and service. So it is very much an established category in the corporate enterprise, but coming downstream, coming into the mid-market and the small business market, SharePoint doesn't really have much of a foothold. So you've got an emergence of companies like Box and Huddle and now us who are really taking products to that sector. So before we move on to the difference with backup, so just one comment here is this. Not only have with Collaborative, we launched a pretty cool product. From a technology standpoint, I think you're going to see that. Most important thing to take away from this webinar is that we're doing it in a partner-friendly way. So if you look at this slide, there's one common thing to every brand up here, which is they screw the channel. And what I mean by that is that there's no room for participation in the channel for selling of Box.net or selling of Dropbox to your customers. Now, your customers are using these technologies. I'm sure you've come across them when in your field work and in your work with your customers, but they're generally circumventing you, the reseller. So you're rarely making any money out of the fact that they are leveraging these products. So what we've done with Collaborate is we've built a great piece of technology and we've wrapped it around our partner program, allowing you to still get 50% margin, right? And allowing you to brand it and customize it to your business and to your product. So we're pretty excited about what we've got here, and we're looking to roll it out amongst our existing 1,000 partners, but also to bring as many new partners into the team as possible. Just in terms of the differences between backup and Collaborate, and I could speak at great length about this, but again, there's confusion in the market between, say, online storage on the one hand and online backup on the other. And just spinning through some important points. Fundamentally, when you think backup, think filing cabinet, and when you think Collaborate, think whiteboard. So Collaborate is all about helping multiple people work on a project or a file, whereas backup is all about creating a secure, versioned, off-site timeline of your data environment that you can roll back to any point of. So fundamentally different business needs are being addressed by these two tools. And we can go through all these different vectors, but I think a picture paints 1,000 words. So let's just look quickly at this diagram. So if you think of the left up here as online storage / collaboration, and to the right, online backup, And these are really our two core products now. So SOS Online Backup is represented by the right-hand side of this diagram, whereas SOS Collaborate is represented by the left-hand side of this diagram. Just a few differences. With backup, your file stays locally, and generally you back it up constantly to the cloud, so you end up with 1, 2, 3, all the way through to N, or unlimited, versions of this file.doc up in the cloud. Many versions are kept, version history, and the ability to roll back is key to the performance of this product. Generally, this whole data movement operation is automated, and the human interaction with the system is very, very limited, perhaps limited to just the initial setup. So it's a write many, read rarely data pattern. The primary copy stays locally. In terms of how much data we're talking about, the ideal is all of your data. So if you've got a terabyte of data, we should be backing up every single piece of it. And then in terms of the top of this stack, who has access to this data? Well, the answer is as few as possible, frankly. Now, some people might have read-only access to some files that have been shared out of the system, because our default backup product's got some collaboration functionality built in. But preserving the integrity of that file history in the cloud is crucial. So we're never going to give read-write permissions over in a secure backup system. So now let's turn and look at the online storage/collaboration solution. Starting at the bottom of the stack, well, how much data do you use with a Collaborate product? The answer is very little, just what you are collaborating on. So just as all of your business records are not on the whiteboard, they're all in the filing cabinet. The stuff that's on the whiteboard is really just what you're working on right now. In terms of